All right, welcome everybody. I'm excited about being with y'all on today's day 70 of our 90-day Rhino Run. I see a lot of beautiful faces. Let me see some smiles. Yes, awesome, amazing. So it's Monday, right? And here's how I want to start this today. And I want to start to dig into your thought process a little bit, right? And this was something that literally 13, 14 years ago, it was something that I aspired to. And literally, it was somebody that came into my life that served at that point as a distant mentor, meaning I didn't have direct communication with this person, but this person was somebody that was a mentor to a lot of different people in the organization I was in. But this was a head figure. This is somebody that truly led from the front. This is somebody that constantly was infusing people with vision and what the future could really be like, because I think that's so incredibly important that somebody that's further down the road, somebody that is where you want to be, does a great job. What a great leader does is they do a great job of painting a really great picture and then the path in order for you to create your own similar picture in life. And one thing he told me, he said, here's a good indication of whether you're living the dream or not. This was his thing. He always talked about two things that he stood for. Number one, living the dream. And number two, leadership development. He said they literally go hand in hand, right? Leadership team development and living the dream. And here's what he told me. He said, you know that you're in a place where, things are good if you will turn in 5 weekdays and a weekend, meaning a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for 7 Saturdays. 7 Saturdays, or let's just say 6 Saturdays and a Sunday. What do I mean by that? Today's Monday. How y'all feeling today on Monday? Be honest, be truthful. Put in the chat. I want to know how you are feeling and be honest. What's the first thing that came on a scale of 1 to 10, knowing and being programmed that Mondays are maybe not the best days traditionally for the rest of society? How are you feeling? And don't BS me. But okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, here's what I want you to think about. That same feeling when you wake up on a Saturday. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when you wake up on a Saturday, you sleep in a little bit longer, right? You know that you don't have that tension and pressure of, oh my God, I'm going to be late to work, or none of that. Literally, everything 9 times out of 10 mentally is cleared. Emotionally, it's cleared, unless you're somebody that works on the weekend or whatever. But my point is that even if you work on the weekend, typically in your own mind that working on that day is still going to be better than working on a Monday. My point is this. I want you to imagine that it's your day off. I want you to imagine, take the best Saturday that you ever had, and I want you to multiply it times 6, right? I want you to think about this. Think about reprogramming yourself and your goals to getting to the point where you live 6 Saturdays and a Sunday. How about that feeling? Could you imagine having that feeling waking up on Monday? Could you imagine having that feeling waking up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to literally where you trade in a traditional week for 6 Saturdays and a Sunday? I will tell you that, that's what life feels like right now. And it is absolutely incredible. Now, here's what I'll tell you. It does also have to be earned, because if it's given, it could be the most devastating thing that ever happens to you. It's like wealth, right? It's like winning the lottery when you don't have a path. And I will tell you that the most exciting thing about accomplishing your goals or accomplishing big things is the path to get there. I can't tell you how many people I know that are literally clinically depressed, and they are sitting on just a wealth, absolutely a ton of money, yet they're still unhappy. And here's what they didn't realize is that it was the journey to get there. It was the creation and the pursuit of their goals is what actually made them happy, is what actually fulfilled them, right? So I'm just going to challenge your thinking today and just think about it. You know how you feel on a Saturday. Imagine if you could trade that in and have that feeling every single day. That was a pursuit of mine. That was something that for literally 12 years of my life is something that I pursued. And now having the ability to have 6 Saturdays and a Sunday, I call that true freedom, true time and money freedom. And here's what I know, whether you like it or not, whether you think you can do it or not, I would tell you to just try it. It will absolutely, positively be one of the best goals that you ever accomplish for yourself. Just want you to think that way for a minute. So today is not only Monday, which is the start of a brand new week. It's also, for some of us, it's Saturday number 1. How cool is that when you literally just say it's Saturday number 1, right? You woke up when you wanted to, right? You did what you wanted to when you wanted to do it. And literally you were being led by your goals instead of being led or torn or pulled by your emotions. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit too. So, hold on, I'm hot. Okay, I had to turn my fan on. I'm going to get fired up already today. Is that okay? By the way, do I have permission to just speak freely, speak from the heart, just hang out with y'all this morning on Monday? I know you weren't expecting it. You're like, listen, I can only handle Bryon one day a week. But if you could, I think that today it's really important to create some continuation from last Friday, right? So here's a couple things that I want to just talk about. First and foremost, it's Monday, which for, the rest of the world and typically compartmentally for us in our minds, it's the start to a brand new week. It's also the start to a brand new month. How many of you feel hungover based on the effort you gave playing to the buzzer last night? It's March Madness. It's Final Four time. And if you've watched any of Duke's games, unfortunately, they lost yesterday. I was pulling for them. I had North Carolina and Duke. No, I didn't. I had North Carolina and Virginia. So I'm still in it. So here's the point, though, is that if you watched any of those games, they literally played and put everything forth until the buzzer, right? You had a bunch of people competing for an ultimate goal, an ultimate prize. And the goal is, and I know the women's Final Four is going on right now too, if you're watching that. But point being is that they're playing to the buzzer. They're putting it all out there. They know, for some of them, could you imagine? This is what they've done their whole life up to this point, and they're a senior, and it could be their very last game. It could be the last game that they ever play, and something that they've created mastery in. Technically, if they started playing basketball when they were 4 or 5 years old, and maybe they don't yet, or they don't have the talent. I always tell you all the time, like, listen, guys, I wouldn't be here today if, I would be in the NFL playing football. I really, truly would. There was only two things that kept me from being in the NFL and not being here with you today. Number 1 is talent, and number 2 is ability. Okay, other than those two things, I would have been there. And I say that jokingly, but, in all honesty, right, some of us, we're not going to take that path, and that's going to be okay. But here's what's cool. There's so many other ways to be able to go out there and to win for you and your family. So point is playing to the buzzer. How many of you feel hungover from playing to the buzzer? You absolutely know that you put that effort into the very last minute, right? Okay, beautiful. Now it's time to capitalize on the momentum that you created for yourself playing to the buzzer. And here's what's so cool. Unlike basketball, unlike the Final Four tournament, you are literally playing your own game. And it resets after the end of every game, after the end of every week, after the end of every month, right? You get to play a new game. The game's not over. The season's not over unless you decide that it is. So you get the ability to do that. So here's what I would love to do. I would love for y'all, I would love to recognize those that absolutely crushed it in the month of whatever the hell this last month was. March, right? I can't do it now. I know it's April 1st. I should have done something dumb and fooled everybody, right? But it's okay. April 1st. Who got April fooled today, by the way? Did anybody? Anybody's family decided to April fool them today? Okay. All right, I haven't got it yet today, but I'm expecting it, okay? I'm expecting it. So, did anyone, by the way, have you got on the Pruvit page, the Pruvit Facebook page? Have you voted on the new flavor you like? Whether it's the Unleashed Pickle Juice or what's the other one? Unleashed Pickle Juice. There's bacon, honey bacon. Y'all didn't see this? Some of you looking at me funny. Instead of MCT 143, we've got the new MCT 420. Right? Little cannabis infused MCT. What else we got? No. Okay. Buffalo chicken nat. Exactly. All right. So happy April Fool's Day to everybody, by the way. So let's continue to go. Once again, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go in the chat and I want you to recognize those people on your team, whether it be through results, right? And what they've accomplished, or whether it be through the action that they took. Remember, action precedes results. So sometimes we get so focused on giving people results-based goals that we forget that there's an action required in order to get the result. And it's easier to focus on the action to take our pressure off of the result itself. So continue. Okay, here we go. Shelby Fame. Oh my gosh, you guys are going too fast. Tara Balmer, Dana and Dennis, Caitlin Brugman, Carly Nowinski, LCD, Jade Covert, Emily Lamarche, Tiffany L, Jesus, Sam Zierke, Kristen Brown Lambert, Cheryl Noop, Eve Baum, Jessica Burns, awesome, Nikki Mayu, Christine Hernandez, Tiffany, rank 3, awesome, Crystal Hendricks, Zach Purdue, Kelly Hawkins, Peggy Strauss, Monica Cummings, awesome, Monica, Amanda Prairie, Brooke Road, Mick and Camille, awesome, Julian Surge, Dakota Patton, Rebecca, you tried really hard, amazing, good for you, Keisha Sina, Melissa Speets, Melissa B, Brittany, Angelina Livingston, Kara and Jim Whitmer, awesome Kara and Jim, Anna Justice, Jessica Hoffman, Emily Byrne, Shelly Mount, Connie Russell, MVP. Hey, you go MVP, you go MVP. If you can go MVP, you go legend. Tiffany and Jesus again, Chantel, awesome, Kimberly, Abigail, Carol Peters, Kelsey, awesome, Christine Gravel, Tiffany Blackburn, Bree Payne, Brian Whittemer, Renelle, Brianna. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm way behind, just so y'all know. But I want you all to take a look at the chat and give everybody a big hand for absolutely crushing the month of March. It's awesome. And continue to do that, right? You know, this is one thing that I decided a long time ago to put my ego to the side, and I had great mentors in my life that reinforced this to me. And he said, listen, they said, listen, this is super important. If you truly want to be recognized, if you truly want to make an impact within the team that you're in, is literally let your actions speak so loudly that what you say, I cannot hear. Let me repeat it again. Let your actions speak so loudly that what you say, people can't hear. Literally, they see you doing it. They see you accomplishing it, right? Your goals are a big part. It's great to be able to share your goals, and it's great to talk and speak what it is that you want and what you're going to do, but let your actions speak for themselves, right? It's so incredibly important. We're coming, like I said, to the end of this Rhino run, and action absolutely is going to be the most important thing for you to focus on. So lastly, one more announcement is we have the Reboot, right? Reboot, who's excited about the Reboot? Reboot is available in your back office, so make sure you take advantage of this. Now remember, understand that the Reboot is a great introduction to this conversation. And to be very, what I typically see is April, believe it or not, April is typically the time that most people are starting to think about and tiptoe into the New Year's resolutions they made for themselves on January 1st. Why? Because it was January 1st, they made those resolutions and they stepped outside and it was still cold. It was still hard. They still had the bad habits that they had created for themselves in December, November, and October, right? Most people have to think about what they're gonna do. And you have to know that. You have to realize that, you know, you've taken time. You're plugged into an association that keeps you accountable. Most people don't have this association, meaning that what they've been intending to do for the last 3 months, they may start tiptoeing into that, and they need somebody to stay on top of them about that, right? So if you're somebody that's reached out to somebody, if you've attracted somebody to a conversation, if you've connected them, right? If you're in the process of experience in some way, shape, or form, go back to the first book that we read, which is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. He says most people today, in a world that's so busy, that's so loud, right? There's so many distractions. People need to be exposed to something 8 to 13 times before they get it, before they acknowledge it, before they typically, you know, step into it. So I would highly encourage you to stay persistent and stay consistent, which is one of the other things that we're going to talk about here. All right, gratitude. Let's go to a place of gratitude real quick. This is something that I promise you. Back before Bryon had 6 Saturdays and a Sunday, when Mondays absolutely sucked, when Mondays were controlled by the man, when Mondays were controlled by someone else absolutely took control of Bryon's time, Bryon's money. Here's one thing that I started to learn that helped me out tremendously and it's a thing called gratitude. You know, I always complained about how bad my shoes were until I met a man with no feet. I always complained about how bad my shoes were and how I needed new ones and how I needed better ones until I met a man with no feet. I want you to think about that for a minute, right? Gratitude is so incredibly important. It puts things into perspective. It slows us down. It pulls us away from our negative attitude, our negative emotions, and puts things back into perspective where we can say, you know what? I'm not behind the eight ball. I'm not in a bad place. Why? Because someone else is literally has a struggle that could be 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 100 times worse than mine, right? So think about that and go to a place of gratitude just very, very quickly. I want to give you 10 seconds to just think about something you're grateful for. Just plan it right up here in your mind, right? Ready, go. Little inspiration for your gratitude. Oh, did you hear that? All right, cool. Do we got it? Are we grateful? You feeling gratitude in our heart? Beautiful. That means now we can learn. So y'all buckled up. You ready to get going? Okay, awesome. Here we go. So let's talk about real quick Friday's call to action, right? Let me ask you this. How many of you in the chat, do me a big favor. I would like for you to just acknowledge if you took seriously the probably 3-hour plus investment that I put out there as a call to action on Friday. I would just love to know very quickly, did you do it? And more importantly, how did it make you feel? That's it. That's all I want you to type in there. Made me feel accomplished. Made me feel amazing. On fire. Felt like I went to bed so accomplished. The time with my son was amazing. Beautiful. Felt pumped. Definitely awesome. Yes. Now, what simply was that? Just so y'all know, obviously it had nothing to do with me. It had this, it was very, very simple. And that's literally what my whole point of today is about, is that it was a goal that y'all decided, whether it was cookie cutter, whether you came up with it yourself, whether you read it on the back of a cereal box, it doesn't matter. The whole point is this, is that you took on a goal, you pursued it, and you accomplished it. And what's so cool is it was all action-based. You realize that none of that, the result was actually, it came through taking the action. You realize that when you took an hour of uninterrupted time with your family, that you didn't have to hit a rank. You understand that, right? You didn't have to you didn't have to do any of that. It was an action, and the result was just simply accomplishing it. That was it, right? That was it. And for a majority of us, that's what we have to understand. That's the start to this entire journey. The start to the journey of success is taking actions without worrying about what the damn result is. Getting out of your head about the result and just taking the action so that you can feel accomplished. So you know what it means to put in hard work. So do you know what the other side looks like once you've accomplished that? And here's what's so cool. As you do it in repetition, as you get momentum, you will start getting more results. As you get more results, you will increase your awareness. You'll know what you need to do more of. You'll know what doesn't work. You know what will work. And you'll do more of that thing. But in the beginning, what's so cool about what everyone said, that actually took that on Friday, is that they felt amazing. They felt accomplished. And here's what's so crazy, is that you weren't being judged. You weren't being ranked. You weren't, put on a scale. It was simply about executing a goal, taking action on it, right? And the result was just completing it. That's it. And that's where we need to just go back to, for all of us, back to the foundation, right? Now, what's so cool, some of you didn't have that awareness on day 1 of this Rhino run. Now on day 70, you do have that awareness. You have a higher level of awareness that you did before. And here's what I promise you. It's not come out of the results that you got. It's not come out of the rank that you broke. All that it's come from is the fact that you made a decision to do something, to pursue a goal. You took action on that goal. And that started to increase your awareness, right, around what you can do, right, and what feels good and what doesn't feel good, right? What gets you closer to where you want to be versus detracts you from where you want to be. Big part of the magic of thinking big, right? If we can eliminate the three diseases, right? The three diseases that keep most of us from success, which are what, right? Excuse-itis, right? Excuse-itis. Procrastination, right, is another one. And detail-itis is another one, getting caught up in the damn details. So now let's do this. Do me a big favor and just give me your biggest takeaway. If you've been reading this book, if you read this book since Friday, I would like to just, for you in the chat, I know today's very active, but what I'd love for you to do is just give me real quick, give me a one-sentence takeaway that's been biggest for you so far, right, in this book, or the most recent takeaway that's resonated most with you. I'm obsessed with this book. Amazing. It's mental. Set goals. Lacking the habit of setting goals. Yes. Sit in the front row. Person in a room who talks the most and the person who's the most successful usually aren't the same person. Change your mindset, change your life. Intention, listen. When the I believe is there, the how-to develops. Every day you think about dying, you may as well be dead. So true. Talk less, listen more. I have to believe in me and think that way. Stop overestimating others and underestimating yourself. That's huge. Oh, you should frame that one specifically for the business that we're in. It's one of the biggest things that I think that hurts all of us is the comparison game. Even though we don't want to, we find ourselves doing it. It's hard in a business where you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so relatable to that person, but then you see where they're at, what they've accomplished, and now you start the same thing that inspired you in terms of relatability is now the same thing that's driving a wedge in your belief because now you're comparing yourself to that person. Remember, they had to take the journey as well, and you're just seeing them further down the road. Disbelief is negative power. Stop. Yep. Awesome. Same thing. Get out of your head. Get the goals. Stop making excuses. Excuses for me or others do not propel me forward. Yes. You know, sometimes we get so good at making excuses. Do you know that we graduate and we start making excuses for other people too? It's a really bad place to be in. We want to be in the place where we help other people eliminate their excuses, even if we're still working on our own. Think about that as a parent. Build a belief and we'll fall into place with action. Intention. Beautiful. Awesome. Phenomenal. So here we go. My question that I'm going to pose to you to start this off is it's a new week. Today's Monday. It's a brand new month. It's April 1st. You have to make a determination right now, and you have to speak it, and you have to think it. From today and before, were you being, number one, were you being drugged along in life by your emotion, or were you being led by your goals? Were you being drugged by emotion, or were you being led by your goals? And here's what I will tell you. Oh my gosh, I could give you a million different examples of how I have to be so intentional about my goals and setting my goals and following my goals literally on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and checking in with those goals literally on a daily basis. And here's the reason why. If you guys can tell, maybe if you get a chance to spend, typically a day, a week with me, could you tell me that would you agree that I could be an emotional person? Do you agree a little bit? Maybe I get a little bit emotional. I will tell you that I can. And the same emotions that I allow to drive my motivation, that I allow to drive my tenacity, that I allow to drive my no quit are the same emotions that F with me on the other side of the scale as well. Meaning that it's so easy for me to allow my emotions to get the best of me. And literally, I have to make a decision and I have to build the muscle to do the opposite or to think about that, right? So I'm just as guilty as anybody, and I could give you the best excuse ever, and I'm going to claim it on here. I made a decision 3 months ago to get the best shape of my life. Do you know what happened in the last 3 months? I gained an additional 5 to 10 pounds. How about that? Why? Because I've thought about it, think about it. Here's the thing. I thought about the goal, I thought about the commitment, and I played with it. I didn't get intentional about it. I didn't. So here's the thing. I made a decision 2 weeks ago, and I will promise you this. In the last 2 weeks, just the pursuit. I haven't changed much on the scale. I haven't changed much in the mirror, but internally, I can feel it. My commitment that I made, that I actually pursued, that I put down on paper, that I've ingrained into my goals, that I've actually hired a coach and somebody to keep me accountable to it. Literally, the last 2 weeks, I started this last Monday. This last 2 weeks is the best I've felt. It's the best I've felt mentally. It's the best I've felt emotionally. And it's all being driven, why? Not because I'm trying to get in the best physical shape of my life, but I set a goal. I committed to it. I'm intentional about it. I'm taking action on it. You know what? Every night I go to bed, that I go to bed sore. Every night that I go to bed a little bit hungry, right? Because I have a goal. And I'm in the pursuit of that goal. And it feels damn good when I go to bed feeling accomplished. And it feels even better when I wake up the next morning knowing that, you know what? My goal is to get 1% better. My goal is to get 1% better this next day. So I want you to think about this for a minute. We're 70 days in of a 90-day run. This 90-day run, for most of you, you may have never taken on 90 days of anything consistently in your entire life. And here's what I'm going to tell you. This first 90 days, you have to make a determination. This is the foundation of something that could absolutely change your life, or it could just be something that you participated in. Now, it's okay. I will tell you, the first time someone had me commit to anything, I was probably participating 80% of the time, and I was not leading, I was not committing, I was not taking charge. But you know what happened? Through that association, through that proximity, my awareness increased. And when my awareness increased, I realized that I did some really good things during that period of time. And if I double down on those things, right, things could only get better. Results could only get better. But my point is trying to frame up the point of, very simply, I want you to get out of your mind when it comes to the end result. And I want you to just start following the path that leads you to where you know that you can go. Most of us, we know what it takes to get in better shape. We know what it takes to grow our mindset. We know what it takes, but for whatever reason, excuse-itis, detail-itis, procrastination, we allow those things, we're more committed, or by a lack of commitment, we allow those things to take over and drag us versus allowing the goals and the commitments that we made to ourselves to lead us. So let me help you understand this, and this is super important, is that any new lifestyle change, now, I could use it in the term of a diet, right? It doesn't matter. Mental diet, physical diet, emotional diet, it doesn't matter. Any lifestyle change that you want to make, whether it's changing your financial future, whether it's changing your physical, your appearance, whether it's changing your internal health, whether it is changing, how intelligent you are in terms of the books that you read and the things that you're, in terms of your personal development. In the beginning, please listen to me. Every massive change that you want to make will initially feel like a structured, pain in the ass, super hard diet. It'll feel like a super hard plan. It will feel like it doesn't give you much freedom for that lifestyle thing. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's just like momentum. And we're going to talk about momentum on Friday and give you a really great visual on what that looks like through what Nick mentioned last week, which is understanding proper action, understanding there's a big difference between action and proper action, and you now have the awareness to, I think, learn that and comprehend it. But in this specific instance, I want you to know that in the beginning, it's going to feel structured. It's going to feel hard. It's like any of you guys that did anything, I'm starting to learn, by the way. I always said that, when I have a son or when I have kids, I'm going to learn to play the guitar. Now check this out. I just started learning how to play the guitar. I got guitar lessons. I started this 4 weeks ago. Let me give you just a personal example of me throwing myself under the bus. Do you know how many lessons I've taken in the last 4 weeks that I committed to play this thing every day to learn it? Anybody want to take a guess? Let me help you out. Twice. I've played this twice in the last 2 weeks. 4 weeks, sorry. Do you know how good I am? Oh, you can imagine. right? You can imagine. Not very good. Bad as F. There you go, Mick. You got it, buddy. I'm not very good. And here's the reason why. And you know what's cool? I would have loved to sit here and say, you know what, I'm learning. I'm getting better every day. But the point is that I'm not. Why? Because I'm not taking any action. I haven't taken any consistent action. And I will tell you, my guitar lessons and my want and will to play this guitar are about as strong as some people's to build this business. The last 4 weeks, what's the last 4 weeks of action look like? Truly, I can compare it to anything that you do in life. How committed is Bryon to playing this guitar and sounding good? Obviously not very, because my commitment has been 2 days in the last 4 weeks. 2 days. 2 days. I feel ashamed to even share this with you. Why? Because I feel like I've failed. I feel like I've given up on my commitment. I feel like I haven't taken any action. I felt like I'm not a very good example to my son. That's what I feel like. You know what? That's what has to drive me. And you know what's crazy? The other day, I had him take his first lesson, and halfway through it, you know what he did? He said, I'm done. I quit. Said, I don't want to do this anymore. And you know what? I had absolutely no confidence to tell him, dude, don't quit. Dude, you can't quit. Dude, you shouldn't quit. Why? Because I myself was a piss poor example of what commitment looked like. These are the types of emotional connections you have to make to the goals and the things you want in your life. If you don't do it, you won't have it. If you don't think it, it won't happen. So in the beginning, it's going to seem hard. It's going to seem structured. And I'll tell you, a big part of not doing it is because the beginning part of those lessons were so freaking boring. They sucked. It was the same stupid repetition stuff that I wanted to just run and jump out the window. But you know what? Those are the hard times. Those are the things that we need to do so that we get in a place where we understand what to do. So incredibly important. If anything, it wasn't even about that stuff that was being shared. It was my ability to be able to commit and be consistent along the way. So in the beginning, it has to be structured. For any of you that have ever gone on a diet, in the beginning, you probably counted your calories, and then you transferred them over to your macronutrient breakdown. And in the beginning, it was hard. But if you did it and you mastered it, if you did it for a long period of time, now you have a general idea of what is required in order to get a result, potentially without even measuring it out, potentially without even, paying attention to all the small little details. But you can't do it unless first you commit to the little details, the little actions, right? The things that compound over time. All right, here we go. I'm wrapping up. Check your environment. So here's the most important thing that I think you can do right now. It's Monday, right? And I'm going to give you a very specific call to action. It's Monday. But first and foremost, check your environment. The environment that we're in, it either feeds the goals and the things that we want to accomplish, or it detracts from it. I was with somebody here a couple days ago. He flew in for a couple days, and we talked about, the environment that's required in order for you to get where you're going. And he was just starting his journey. And he said, it was somebody, actually, it was a buddy of mine. It was a guy, I guess I kind of mentored in the Marine Corps. It was, he got out of the Marine Corps, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. I got out of the Marine Corps in 2008. And he just interviewed me. He just asked me a bunch of questions. He said, this is where I want to go. This is what I accomplish. He said, how important is your association? And literally, he was asking me questions. It was almost like he was asking me permission. I said, dude, this is up to you. I said, the people that you spend the most time with, do they add to these goals that you want to accomplish, or do they take away from them? Do they challenge them in a good way, or do they make fun of them? Do they put them down, right? In order for you to get to where you want to go, your environment is one of the most important places for you to start. It has to be your foundation. So what does your environment look like? Are you setting up your environment for success? And like I said, in the beginning, it's going to be hard. It's going to be structured. It's going to kind of suck, right? Like your workouts, like anything else that I could give you a physical analogy of, it would make sense. But all of a sudden, it's like it stops when it comes into this realm. I want you to think about those things and anchor those things down, right? What's your environment look like? And knowing in the beginning, it's going to be harder, and you need to be more structured, and you need to be more strict in the beginning. So here we go. Here's your call to action. It's a brand new week. It's a brand new month. So all I'm going to ask of you right now, and they can be as in-depth or as simple as you'd like them to be. I'm asking you to write 5 goals. Just 5 goals. And here's very simple. I want you to write them down, and I want you to just wake up and review them every day. Transfer them over to your phone if you need to, your notepad or whatever. But every single day for the next, the month of April has, is it 30 days? How many days does April have? 30? I don't know, my calendar's taking forever. Yes, 30 days in April. So today's day 1. Super important. Here we go. Number 1, I would like you to write down a goal in the realm of personal development. Could be a book, could be something you listen to. But number 1, a personal development goal, right? Could be just reading 10 pages every day out of whatever book that is going to help you personally develop. Could be listening, could be whatever. Number 2, health goal, a health goal, something you want to achieve. Do you guys realize that right now you're in a business that is, whether you like it or not, you're in a business that falls in the category of health and wellness. And do you know what? You take rank out of it, you take everything out of it. Here's the thing. Your rank 10 may make more money. Your circle of champion may make more money than you. Your pro champ may make more money than you, and they may be further down the road than you. Do you know one way you can make them self-conscious right now? You know one way you could beat them right now? Get in better shape, get in better physical shape. Do you know how many people I know right now that are multi-millionaires? That I know a couple broke guys that they would love to have their body. Plus in our realm, it gives you credibility. Believe it or not, we live in a very, call it superficial, you call it whatever. But if some of you commit right now to absolutely transforming your body, do you know it's going to give you the ability to grow your business in a way that you never thought possible. I promise you that. So number 2, health goal. Number 3, relationship goal. So many people I see in the pursuit of the other goals in their life, their financial goals, their physical goals. There's one that they claim in the beginning that they're doing it for, which is to make the relationship better. And what happens is that same relationship gets compromised the most. So a relationship goal, right? Committing to date nights, committing to, whether it be your friends or your family or your children, right? Date days with your kids, whatever it is. Right? Making a true commitment, right? Like it's a priority commitment. You do it like at the end of the month. Like you think about, oh my gosh, I'm short on volume this month. Do you ever think about, I'm short on the time with my kids this month? You know what? I was supposed to have 4 and I only had 1 up into this point. Are you going to make it up? Are you going to take it? You're going to play to the clock in that relationship goal? Number 4 is a personal business goal. Personal business goal, which goes back to your own personal attraction, goes back to your own personal connection, and goes back to your own personal experience and enroll, right? New people in the pipeline, new bodies, it's so awesome too along the way to get attached to someone. I was so inspired this week by somebody that they're just getting like a massive run started in their life. And it took me right back to when I was in that place emotionally. Sometimes we lose it. And it's so good to be back and anchored to that excitement, right? And that hope and that vision that people have. And that only comes from the newest new person. Number 5 is a goal in terms of your team business, your overall team business. What can you do to further develop the business that you have? Whether they're customers, whether they're promoters, make a goal in terms of the development of your business and your team as a whole. So just very quickly, number 1, personal development goal. Number 2, a health goal. Number 3, a relationship goal. Number 4, a personal business goal. And number 5, a team business goal. And then do me a big favor. If you are committed to setting these goals here and now, and you're committed to just simply reviewing them and pursuing them for the next 30 days, I want you to give me a fist bump or a high five or something in the chat just to say, you know what, I'm committed to it. I'm going to commit to it. And here's the thing, for those of you that basically already did something similar on Friday, you know that feeling. Get addicted to that feeling of accomplishment. Get addicted to that feeling of setting a goal, taking action on it, and laying your head on the pillow at night, being excited and accomplished, and knowing that, hey, the next morning is going to be so much more exciting when you wake up the next day. I promise you, when you wake up with goals, It's so much different than when you wake up without goals. Actually, I typically don't wake up when I don't have goals. I just kind of roll out of the damn bed and mill around like an idiot trying to figure out what I'm going to do, right? That's me personally. So thank y'all for spending a little bit extra time with me today. Y'all are amazing. And get ready, right? We're coming down on our last 3 weeks. You have this week, you have the next week, and the following week. So we've got 3 weeks left, day 70 of 90, right? It's okay. It's okay if right now you're just starting to pick up on things. I promise you, this is just the start to your marathon, right? This is not a race, this is a marathon. So y'all amazing. Have a great rest of your Monday. I look forward to you making it a Saturday number 1. And with that, we will see you on tomorrow's